recording.
All right. Thanks, Raman. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's evening session. I am your Toastmaster of the evening. My name is Amit. I'm part of District 73 Mighty Docklands Club. I'm also the S39 Area Director for this year. Couple of key housekeeping points. The session will be recorded and available at the D73 website for future reference if you need to look at it. A few key recommendations for better performance is you can switch off your video. It does reduce the bandwidth consumption. I am unfortunately on a dock on my laptop, so I can't use video anyways. If you're on a phone, it is recommended you use your laptop or a computer because we will be doing screen shares and it's obviously a bigger screen, you can see better. We will be taking questions at the end of each session. And of course, we do recommend using headphones or earphones instead of the laptop's mic because they have a better performance and noise canceling. A few changes, or rather one change to the agenda for tonight. We will be starting off the first session with Debbie Rose instead of Kelly. We were having a bit of technical difficulty, so we're swapping slots over there. The rest of the agenda should follow through as usual. Now, having said that, I would like to welcome Debbie Rose, who is also our Northern Division Director. Tracy, you've got a question, do you? Go for it.
Yes, I'm the timer. So I just wanted to confirm the timing for the...
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Let's see.
So how would you like your... I'll just demonstrate. This is going to be your green.
Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. This will be your yellow. And if you could just give me when you want those. And this is your red.
Okay.
And if you haven't noticed those when it gets to the red. Okay. So timing.
How about 10, 12, and, well, 15?
Okay. Fantastic.
12 and 15.
I'm just going to stop my video and I'll only come on when I need to show those.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. One other recommendation for everybody, please, is please be on mute while the speakers are on. It will avoid the disturbance for everybody else. I would now like to welcome Debbie Rose. So here's a virtual handshake for you to welcome you.
Thank you very much, Amit. I'm just going to start off with a screen. Oops, my screen's not sharing. Talk about technical difficulties. Go. Why won't it share?
It hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
Yeah, something's coming up. There we go. We can see it now.
And we should give the full screen. How's that? That's better? Got a full screen with me in the corner with a bit of luck?
Excellent.
Wonderful. Oh, well, first off, welcome everyone, and I'm Debbie Hirova. I'm the District 73 Northern Division Director and VPE of Geelong Toastmasters. Now, for those of you who do know me, if you think I'm not my normal vibrant, bubbly self, don't panic. I did have a little small minor procedure done the other day, so I just still have a little bit of pain. So every now and again, I'll just be taking it easy. I'm not going to be doing somersaults tonight. Not that I usually do somersaults on screen. Embedding pathways into your success plan. Well, it can be a very daunting or exciting experience depending on who you are, what you are, and your club. So first off, can I have a few hands up if you're excited by the process of putting pathways into your success plan? There's a few yeses. And is there anyone who might be a little bit timid about it, a little bit daunted? That's fair enough too, because it is scary because, well, we feel your pain. June 2020 is not far away. We have members who are still in legacy and some who are transitioning. And that period can be a little bit crazy. And our goal for June 2020 is to have a 100% adoption rate into pathways to make your success. The first steps you've taken, you're attending this Zoom session, so congratulations to that. And I'd also like to congratulate anyone who's on their executive, and most of you are, because And I'm sure the one thing, if you have had an executive meeting already this month, you've discussed what is first and foremost in amongst everything, and that's the member. So remember, the member must come first. Everyone has their goals, everyone has their own individual objectives, but it is always going to be the member that needs to take top priority in amongst that. Now, when you're looking at the D73 Team Pathways little banner there, that actually reflects the member comes first, because the little quote on the sidebar from John Welch, which totally to me embodies the Toastmasters philosophy and that of Pathways as well, is that before you're a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is about growing others. And that's what Pathways is. And that's what we need to put into our success plan, is the growth, how that we can make everyone succeed, thrive and grow within that environment. So we have a new year. We're 1 month in, exactly, almost 1 month in. And if you haven't already looked at the success plan, you will be in the next month. And with that success plan, it gives you the opportunity to lay a very strong foundation for your club. As I said, to help it grow, to help it thrive, and for it to be successful. Now, one of my favourite things, and I've often used to it, I call it the KISS principle. We're all very well aware of the KISS principle. Keep it nice and keep it sweet and simple. The first way to do that with your success plan is to review last year's success plan. You might have a complete new executive, and yes, you're going to write your own plan, but you've got the basis to start something else, or look at what may not have worked in your eyes and model it from there. Now, if you can't get a copy of it, there are ways and means to. There's a lot of people in the district that will help you. There are area directors, there are other clubs in your area, and I'm sure they will help you and source their form of success plan if your club has never even attempted one. I know it sounds strange. There are some clubs that don't even bother. But what you also need to do is start with every role and every level to get that commitment, because we need to get that 100% adoption rate happening. And to do that, we need a strong executive commitment, and the executives to all promise that they themselves will take on Pathways. In my home club, we've got 1 or 2 on the executive. They've joined deliberately to get themselves started in Pathways. So they've come on board for the executive this year, and that is their goal, to really take on Pathways and to champion it themselves. And they're going to be our new adopters, and they're going to help model it for everyone else. So your executive is the key point to that. And when we start at the very top, naturally we start with the president. And anyone who, it's a very simple thing that the president could at each meeting, after they've reviewed the statistics prior to the meeting in conjunction with the VPE or whatever, they can find out who's logged on to TI, who's taken their quiz, who's even challenged and decided on their path already. And at the very beginning of a meeting, congratulate that early adopter, because amazing, that initial recognition, even if it's verbal, can go a long way to getting that cycle started and having the next person take that plunge. Now, if there are no early adopters, the president could just take 1 or 2 minutes out and just focus on one section of a path. It might be the benefits of effective coaching and why they merit, and they may give some pearl of wisdom, some gem that says why that path might be relevant to somebody in their club. The VPE, it's an obvious. We have to train everybody. I say we because I'm a VPE, and there's quite a few of us here today. So we have to train and respond to all the questions and lead those 3 base camp manager jobs, ensuring equality at the same time, because, as I said before, when you've got that core base of the member comes first, no one person can just take the lead and continually be always speaking. You need to have that parity. It needs to have that equality, because the VPE is going to be the one that takes all those complaints from the disgruntled members. Why can't I get a chance speaking? Why don't I get this? It's always that person, and they've gone up a level and another level, and they're not getting anywhere. So everyone's paying their fees, and everyone wants to be seen and heard. At the same time, there are going to be members that have got other things in mind. We've got, at Geelong, we've got other members who are also doing their university courses at the moment. So they've got a few other things on the back burner. And they're going to be a little bit slower in their path. But you're also going to be making sure that you respond quickly to any level changes or requests for acceptance. One other thing, and I will get that in a little bit later, is the mentor program, because that's paramount in making a successful DCP plan as well. The PPR also plays a very important role in the plan, because, as I said, promoting and the accolades of the members, and social media is obviously our best friend, and dare I say the millennials love social media and that instant gratification that goes with it. So looking at what you can and can't do with your social media is amazing, because we took an incident that happened at Geelong. A member had his icebreaker, it went on our public page, and our private, we asked, some of them don't want it on the public page. He wanted it on the public page. Within 48 hours, we had over 1,000 likes on that one post. It was phenomenal. And from that, we generated a few extra members. It also earned that particular member the gold toasty, we called it, for the year. Not the gold logie, but we gave him the gold toasty because we felt it merited it. It was an unexpected hit ratio just because of how that particular post came out. So take that opportunity of your members, even if they're small steps, such as an icebreaker. It's amazing who you can draw into your club. The VPM in the success plan needs to make sure that they've got the correct information in their guest kit, of course, but at the same time, not too much, because overkill in an information pack can drive a member away. The secretary, of course, is going to help the VPE, and they'll keep an eye on all the approvals. They may even print off different level completion certificates to help out and help prepare for the president coming for presenting those awards. The treasurer has a very important role in the DCP plan, because if those fees are not received on time, if those fees are not paid by the due date, the member will be locked out. And Tracy, if your fees are not paid on time to your treasurer and in on the bank, you will not be competing in your contest because you're not going to be considered valid. So it has a big picture. It's not just locking you out of pathways. It can also be locking you out of a contest because you're not going to be considered as a paid member. The Sergeant-at-Arms is the final member in the crew, and an easy way for the Sergeant-at-Arms to really participate in the DCP program and the success of pathways is for them to be responsible for having a bank of icebreakers and level 1 evaluation forms. It's a lot to take on as a new member. You're learning everything as you go along. You're learning how to operate the system. To remember to bring that evaluation form on your first night, on your icebreaker, or even your second speech, can be really, that's the one thing everyone seems to forget. So what we'll do is we often will have a bank of them there, and they're there ready and handy. We also encourage them to do later, to have their ones coming up later on. So while it's handy for us to feed them in the first instance, we also need to teach them how to fish at the same time and get those things underway. Another thing that one of the Sergeant-at-Arms that I know of in another club takes care of is the A4 generic level completion. So it's just a very quick and easy thing. They're laminated and recycled throughout the club. Now, we've also got a lot of resources, and that can be very, very daunting. So my key thing is to make sure you go to a certified site, obviously Toastmasters International, or in our case, the District 73 website. There are a couple of updates to D73 that still need to take place, but give our tech guys a little bit of time and that'll all be updated. But if you go onto the site, you'll come across the navigator. You will come across all of the variable resources, and you will find it works well for you. Sorry, I just needed to sip my drink. The resources are helpful because you'll be sitting through and you'll guide your new member, but your mentor is going to be the main guide here. And that's, as I said, I'll mention the mentor now, because to me, the mentor's going to be the VPE's best friend at the same time, because they're going to take a lot of that strain off the VPE, as we know, does an awful lot. And the mentor, once they show them all these wonderful resources that are available, can also show them and guide them through the core competencies. And they're all downloadable. But the one thing I love about this particular resource, before anyone even looks at taking their quiz, is they can really investigate it. And to me, this is a vital part of having this as part of your guest pack, as part of your DCP plan. Because this particular resource available on the TI site has a full breakdown of all the electives. And personally, showing someone all the electives in the future levels is their way of really helping them source the plan that they're after and the one that they want to go to. The final level in the DCP is encouraging the warm-up master, the table topics master, and the general members to incorporate it even further at the club level. So with the warm-up, you can have a very quick round robin, and it may just be, what path are you doing? Or what have you found, one really quick idea in your path? What project are you working on? Which level are you up to? They can be very quick, frequent, fresh, and it'll keep it alive. Table topics obviously are going to enhance and expand on that, and so that the members will find perhaps their own unique selling point about their path. And then there's the workshops, which we'll have them later on as we get our bigger projects, and that'll help the growth and development of all the members. So as you can see, the options to embedding pathways into your success plan are endless, but it's also up to you as a club and the executive to set the plan. So if you take up those options, I'm sure you'll succeed in embedding it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Debbie. Do we have any questions from the group? I haven't received anything on the chat box, so feel free. Okay, I see some questions coming up from Carole. How much of the club success plan would be appropriate to tackle during August with regard to pathways? It's a question for you, Debbie.
To tackle through August. I know we've had our first executive meeting and we set all of those ideas straight away from the get-go. But we're also going to review them in 3 months' time to see how effective they've been at this stage. Does that make sense? Because I suppose it depends on what level you're after. We're building on last year's success plan and we're going to keep adding to it from there. I can't hear you.
Does that answer your question, Carole?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It partly answers it in that you're saying that you're building on what you've already put in place. And I'm thinking now of new committees and them wanting to put their own stamp in place.
Mm-hmm.
And the club success plan is huge. You know, when you look at all the facets of it,
Yes.
giving it all to them in one go would be foolish. So I wondered what part of it would be your advice to tackle during their the month of August, given that they've just gotten used to being on the committee during July?
Yeah. I think having the executives take over the round robin would be, and maybe the table topics for those first, because most clubs will only have the 2 meetings in a month on average. There are some clubs that meet more regularly, and that would be a great way of helping that come across. So that's reminding people, okay, we've got 3 people doing effective coaching. Oh, what's it doing for you? And getting that conversation started. I think that's the big thing.
Excellent. Thank you, Debbie. Seems to be one more question there, Amit.
Yes, we have got one. Actually, we've got 2 questions on the chat. One from Wendy. She's asking, do you think forward planning for Toastmaster year 2020 should also be in this year's success plan?
It would actually, because without having your subsequent levels as they're growing, you're not going to achieve those higher ones later on. But we don't know whether they're going to change the levels for next year or they're going to change anything once Pathways is fully integrated either. I don't know whether that's a thing too. But I would encourage some sort of growth towards it, yes. Which is what I think most clubs have been doing in the last 12 months, because you're not going to get your level 3s and 4s if you haven't got your 1s and 2s already in place. Does that answer that one?
Wendy, does that answer your question? She says thanks. All right, we have one last question from Liz. How are clubs handling the need for IT equipment at meetings? For example, Wi-Fi, laptop, projectors. Are we getting feedback from clubs that this is a roadblock?
Depends on what you mean by roadblock. We don't use the TI platform during a meeting at the moment, and we're not using Zoom, so it's not a roadblock for us. The roadblock for us with technology is just getting people to use a PowerPoint display or anything like that. We've got the facilities for it, but if it's doing the evaluations live straight into a laptop, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, a little bit. One of my clubs do that, but I was just thinking that it's easier to show people. So if you, like on Monday night at Turak, we're having a Pathways session, everyone's bringing their laptop. So it is important to visually walk people through everything. So I guess that was just what I was thinking about. There'll be some clubs that just haven't got the equipment to do that.
Yes, and now I know where you're coming from. We did do that a couple of weeks ago. Some people, we said, bring your laptop or your tablet. And too many of them just wanted to do it on their phone. And it's, as we know, the spatial requirements when you're learning, it is much better on a laptop so you can get a better picture. So it was just encouraging to bring their laptop. So we were fortunate we had enough Wi-Fi and everything for everyone. So.
May I say something there? Carole from Ballarat. We actually applied last year for a Ballarat community loan, and it was just after our 40th year Toastmaster, and we applied a loan for a computer, printer, scanner, projector, and it totaled just over $4,000, and the council okayed that loan. So we've since bought a computer, and we're lucky enough to be able to use the bowling club projector. And going by what you're just saying about our last meeting, we did a Easy Speak tutorial, educational, and that went off really well. Plus, we incorporated that with an evaluation speech by Mike Landry. So we're using those 2 things to encourage Easy Speak, and that was an instant success with people logging on. Ron Crafter arranged all the login numbers and names, and that looks really good to help people set up their own program of speaking throughout the whole year, and to have their speeches in, plus to use the Easy Speak, and plus we're losing those educationals then to tap into that, like you say, the using computers at the meetings. But the loan was the community grant was very successful. Now we need to spend the money. We sort of need to see what else we can actually use. We bought our own printer to do our own printing, copying, and all that sort of thing to save, because not everybody has got a luxury of doing it at work. So we're sort of looking outside that to make sure we can incorporate it at a club.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great idea, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl. I don't see any other questions come up, but yes, there was a point made by Ramon saying the biggest roadblock would probably be access to the internet. So that might be a point of consideration there.
If I may, well, there was a comment that when booking new premises or new venues to always make sure there is internet access granted. The challenge then, for instance, in case of where it is, where we currently are, there isn't. We have been there for a while. So how we are going to address that obviously is something we're talking about, but it's something that I suspect many of their clubs may have.
Yes, we're fortunate in that we're right next door to the Geelong West Library, and we hook straight into their Wi-Fi. So.
Okay. All right. If there are no further questions, I would like to give a big thank you to Debbie and do a virtual handshake. And a big round of applause as well. All right. Our next speaker, like I mentioned at the beginning, we are swapping roles due to some technical difficulties. So our next speaker is Kelly Vieira. Her session is on motivating a division. So over to you, Kelly. Also, if you could just confirm your timing so that Tracy can note that down, please. And Tracy, what I would also recommend is just ring the bell once for green, again once for yellow, and then red, instead of doing a video, because I realize that speakers may not be looking at the video chat. Yep. Over to you, Kelly.
Yeah, Amit, I don't know my timing. Sorry. I didn't know exactly what I should be talking about. So if you can confirm, Carole.
Why don't you go for 10 minutes and then see what happens, Kelly? I'm sure you can.
I don't know, because what you want me to cover is what I will be doing for my division, right?
Yes.
Hello everyone here. So my name is Kelly and I'm the division director for ranges. It's a pleasure to be here and having time to have the opportunity to talk to you all. I have many plans for the division. I think the people who know me, they know that I'm always very active. I think I have a problem because I'm so hyperactive, and sometimes this can be a problem, and not everyone can follow the same rhythm, but hopefully in the ranges division we will have people to follow that. And I have my friend Tracy, who normally follows that as well, and she helps me in everything, and she's also my mentor, and we all normally have the ideas together. One thing that I challenged the district was our last COT training. We had a speaker to cover the pathways, but she could not come, and I had to do it last minute. And when I was talking to them, I was presenting the statistics, and Debbie touched that point, which is the adoption rate is not high enough. And I cannot particularly understand, for example, why we cannot have 100% adoption rate amongst the executives of the club. Because if you don't have members and new members, I may understand there are reasons for that. But the executives, I think it's a must. And in order to bribe the executives of all the clubs in Ranges Division, I proposed that I would particularly create a new award, which would be the Ambassador of Pathways for the Ranges Division. And the criteria will be very simple. I would like them to have 100% adoption for all the executives, but let's suppose that all the clubs in the Ranges Division will meet that target. then how am I going to select who is the actual ambassador? Second criteria will be the executive that reaches the highest level in a club. So as an example, let's say that Rafters Club and Rovio clubs, they both reach the 100%. I will be picking the club which executive reached the highest level. Let's say one executive reached level 5, but project number 1, and the other one completed level 5, then obviously who completed level 5 will be my ambassador. Obviously, I'm taking a big risk here because this was like I invented on the spot when I was presenting the pathways. And if we have many executives in many clubs completing level 5, I will have to give the award and the present for all of them. And I promised them that I would do that. So that's my promise to my division. And hopefully everything is going to work out. And I think that if the division has great success in everything, it means a reflection of all of us working together. And I have no problems with really trying and doing something. So they are happy with pathways and they do it. They use the system and the tool, which we cannot avoid. All of us will have to do. And some people, they are reluctant. I have had examples of presidents of the clubs that they never signed up for that and they didn't know that they were managers on pathways. And after the training, they realize, oh, so I have a responsibility, I have something to do. And hopefully that's gonna push all of them to participate more and reach the 100%. And we will have great results on pathways adoption rate for the ranges division. I also would like very much for the training to be centralized on the needs of the division. So every time we have trainings, we talk about pathways and we tried to do this year in the cut. And it's not covering basics because particularly speaking, I have been to pathways training multiple times and I'm a little bit sick of always hearing the same thing. How do you log in? How do you browse in the project? So it's always the same information again and again and again. And I believe that at this stage, we all should have done that. We all should be good at that. And what I would expect is hear from the members what are the difficulties they have. So the next training, I would really like to, before the next SCOT training, have a survey and have 100% accuracy on what we need to train them about related to pathways. So the training will be very specific based on the needs of all them pointed out by the members in the division. So I'll be planning the survey and I will be circulating and the training will be very specific on that. And there is no better way of learning than training. In the COT training as well was highlighted that if they have difficulties, then they can potentially seek for help. And I would be happy to help. And I pointed out that we would be happy to point your group out as well, so I'm sure you would be happy. And I have been copying Carole on Easy Speak needs or Pathways needs, and I shared all the information that we could during COT, so they all received this information. So I facilitated one COT training on Pathways, Tracy Green facilitated the second one, and we shared the same type of information. So at least the executives are informed where they can seek for help, who can help them, what materials we have available, and hopefully they will use that. But we also offered themselves to let us know if they have any difficulties, and more than happy to facilitate training sessions if needed be, or pointing them to you, and you can help as well as a Pathways group. I have been posting as well. We created a new page for Ranges Division, B73 Ranges Division, and I have been posting everything there. And the main idea by creating that page is not moving people from District 73 Facebook page to the Ranges Division, but it's more centralized for our division community so they don't miss any information and comms. I have had complaints about members of clubs, executives saying, oh, we were never informed about the COT training, or we were never informed how we could sign up for Pathways. Therefore, I wouldn't like to rely only on emails or information that goes is cascaded from the district to division, division to area directors to the club executives, but have another channel that they can receive information. And another channel I have been using as well is Easy Speak. I talk to everyone from the division through Easy Speak and through District 73 Ranges Facebook page, plus communicate with the area directors via email. So I'm trying to open up as many channels as possible so there are no longer excuses if they don't participate in COT training because they never received the information. And I think that's all I can do and try the best as I can to communicate the best as I can. And in the division page, it was published that I would like to have a humorous night or a debate night or a telltales night. And I'm planning this activity because I think what lacks in what I see normally is people, they are just very integrated into their own clubs and they don't go out of the clubs much. And the people who are integrated in the district activities or things outside of the clubs are always the same people. Like, I know many of you, like Carole and Tracy and Debbie, and we are always that same group. And I would like that to be expanded and more people participating. And we are not always seeing the same faces and the same people volunteering to do stuff. And that's the plan, is that we talk more, we share more, we laugh together, and we do more things outside the club. I'm making a strong effort to help them in the contests, and I hope that I will get to know them and talk to them about these activities that I would like to have. So they would like to participate as well. And in what is in it for them is for them to be able to complete projects, for example. When we run debates, someone will have to chair the debate, someone will help us to find the venue or organize the agenda, organize the topic. So all of these activities, we need help. We cannot count with one person or two people. It has to be many people together. And I hope that if we assign and delegate, people get more involved and we have more fun together and they get outside of that bubble that is just the club or just the area, and we all interact more. That's what I really want. So keep an eye on that, because it's really, I think it's going to be exciting having these debates and the Tall Tale Night. And last but not least, we have been asked for a few people to run, probably Tracy and I. If you know, we have released the podcast Speak We Are Listening last year for the district. We are still running podcasts now, both of us as part of our business, that are to be business. And some people, they want to know what are the basics about podcasts, and we promise to run one podcast educational in our club, and we would like to run an educational as well for the division. And if we run these online, for example, we don't need to do just for the division, we can do for anyone. Because Toastmasters, the problem also is we centralize too much in certain areas or certain clubs, certain people, but if we share more, then it's definitely, it's a good thing, because we share the knowledge, everyone learn, and we just, we all get the most of it all. These are my plans, and I think my time is up. Tracy just ring the bell. Hopefully the ideas are clear. I'm the opposite of Debbie, because I speak too fast and too much. Debbie is very calm, and the voice tone and the pace is better than mine, but I'll get there that one day. And back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kelly. I totally agree with you when you say you speak too fast, and that comes from the energy you have. So we welcome that always. Big round of applause and show of hands to Kelly for giving us those tips and sessions. We have a few questions on the chat, which I'm going to bring up. Wendy had one question saying, can other division members join Rangers page?
Oh, definitely. It's a public page, so everyone can go there and see everything we post. And every member of any division, any place can join the activities as well. I will always be posting there, and it's open to anyone. It's just because I represent ranges, but everyone is really welcome.
Awesome. I had another recommendation on that. I just told her, just go and join a club in ranges.
Sorry?
No, I was saying, I told Wendy, why don't you just join another club in the ranges division?
I am in a club in the ranges division. I am in 2 clubs on bass division and 1 club in ranges division.
That was to Wendy. I was telling Wendy to do that because she had the question.
No, not necessarily. She doesn't need to. She's more than welcome, and everybody else.
Great. Our next question comes from Carole. She wants you to post the link for Speak We Are Listening podcast group in Facebook.
Well, we have done that. It's Tracy Green was the PR manager last year for the district, and Tracy posted all the episodes we recorded on the district. And if you search for Speak We Are Listening on the District 73, you'll definitely find the posts from Tracy. And when you click in the posts, you are directed to the page where all of the episodes are recorded, and you can see it all there. Or you search on Facebook page, Speak We Are Listening, and you can find us as well.
Okay. All right. Does that answer your question, Carole?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
No problem. Liz has a question as well. Will the Rangers events be replicated on the D73 Facebook group? I think it should, but that's a question for Kelly.
That's a good question. I haven't thought about it. I don't use the District 73 link much. And because every time I use is really to post something that is relevant and I need. Sorry to be so opportunist, but when I post it's because I want volunteers for the youth leadership program, or it's always with a purpose. But because these are ideas for the ranges, I don't know if everyone would be interested really. So I posted on District 73 the link to the ranges division, and everyone is welcome to go to the ranges, but I really don't want to go all over the place because it can be confusing. So I'll try and centralize as much as I can on the ranges. Also because there will be things that are very specific for the ranges. For example, if we do the area council meeting that is booked for X day, or the contests or the area contests, not that no one else is welcome, but there will be things very, very specific for the ranges. But if it's something that is really welcome to everyone, I may post on District 73. Why not? I will think seriously about that and try not to be selfish. But you're all welcome to come to the ranges division, and so you can play both pages.
Sounds good, Kelly. I think the whole point of posting it on the D73 page was to just make sure that everybody knows about it, and that way you get more interaction. Like you mentioned earlier, it's always a limited group of people that you're always working with. This would give you the opportunity to invite more people who are interested in these kind of events.
Okay, yeah. If it's common to everyone, more than well, yeah, I will try and do this in post, and if it's specific to ranges, then I will post only on ranges. It's a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, another point which Liz made was if we can get those activities also on the D73 calendar, because a lot of members look at the D73 calendar to see what's happening through the month and accordingly express the interest to join. So it would be great if we could get them there.
Definitely can.
We have a new webmaster this year, Heath, who's part of City Center. So I think you can reach out to him and he can add those in the calendar.
Yep, I will.
Awesome. Any other questions for Kelly? Okay, I take silence as a yes. Thank you very much, Kelly. And I do a virtual handshake to take the meeting back from you.
Welcome.
Big round of applause for Kelly. Our next session is by our very own coach, Carole. Her session is on tracking and monitoring pathways achievements at our club. And this is something which I'm definitely looking forward to, considering that we are also struggling tracking, users on the legacy system as well as on pathways. So this should be an interesting session for all of us and a learning. Over to you, Carole.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. I hope everyone can see my slides, and you should also have received in the chat pod a link to a document that you may wish to download and use for yourself or share with your club members. I'm going to talk about that document a little bit further in the presentation. But my brief tonight is to give you some new ideas on how you can track and monitor your pathways achievements at your club. So welcome to session 3. And please put questions into the chat pod and Amit can pick them up during as well as after. So this is what I'm going to cover for you today, really in 2 segments. How can we track and monitor pathways achievements, how the members can do so, what tools can they use, and how the club can also track on behalf of all the members of their club. So in the first segment, we're going to look at that first little document that I sent to you called the Pathways Level Completion Checklist. That one came across my desk as one of the things that I thought would be really useful as a printable document that you could share with your members, and I'll show you what it looks like in a moment. The second is how you can make use of EasySpeak Workbook Matrix. For the EasySpeak users here, this will be of keen interest to you. If you are not an EasySpeak user, you may of course have your own record system. And the third item or way in which a member can track their own pathways is through the curriculum in Basecamp itself. And after I've done those, I will come back to look at what the clubs can do. So let's have a look at what you can do with this. Let me go back to click happy there. This is what that first document looks like. It was developed by a person in, I'm not sure what district now, but it was shared with all of the members of the very large Pathways Discussion Forum. We're approaching 10,000 members in that particular forum, and there are resources coming in every week. And this one was a little gem because it's very similar to what you might remember was in place at the back of the Competent Communicator Manual, a place where you could list those project speeches that you've completed and a space for the VPE initials. This one shows all of the projects in every level and even the final task, which they have called Project 4. It's not really a project, but the final thing to do in each level is to submit your level completion. So I thought I'll fill one of these in for a fictitious person in the EasySpeak training club, which is called the King Arthur's Playground. And here we have the member Gandalf the Wizard. As you can imagine, he's got a bit of magic about him and he's getting stuck into pathways now. And he's using this checklist to indicate the dates on which he's completed the first 3 of those projects. And he's made a note for himself that he's scheduled the evaluation part of this to happen on the 31st of July and his final project speech of level 1 on the 30th of July. Don't worry too much about the dates here because this club, they meet anytime, anywhere, in the cloud and all over the place. So this is how one member can fill out that checklist. If you are an EasySpeak user and you are also a VPE, or at least have access to looking at what is showing currently for other members of your club, this particular part of the matrix is extremely important as a way of tracking what your members are doing. So this is the one for Gandalf, which shows the 3 items, projects that he's already done for level 1, where it says recent speeches. And here is his requested speech that he's going to do next. And this will enable the VPE to track just how well Gandalf is going to be able to achieve his goals. And of course, the member needs to chat with the VPE about what those goals are along the way. Another member of the club who is the VPE is Minnie Mouse herself. And at the moment, this is what's showing for her in her matrix in Easy Speak. She has completed level 1 and she's now looking forward to requesting speeches for other levels. And you'll notice that Easy Speak allows her and any member to click on the little arrow on the right-hand side there inside that red square if they have performed that speech outside of the club. Now, this makes it really simple for a person who is in multiple club situations. So her level completions that she's aiming for before December 2019 is to complete 3 more speeches in August, September. So the VPE and Minnie, being the same person, can keep close tabs on what's happening there. The third member of the club, who is actually the president, and he needs to be getting going in his path, he's chosen the path called Engaging Humour, and he has made a start. He's finished 3 projects and he's now requested speeches for the next 2. So his goals are to complete 2 speeches during September. So just having that sort of record in Easy Speak makes the life of the VPE so easy. And it can also be used by the member themselves to closely track what they want to do and what they have done. Ah, yes, I hear you say, why can't they do that in Basecamp? Well, they can. They can certainly do the tracking in Basecamp as well. But in Easy Speak, it is so much easier. So here's what the club is hoping will happen in order to reach some of those coveted DCP points before December 2019. Levels 1 and 2 for all 3 of the members, Gandalf, Minnie and King, will contribute towards those DCP points. Because as you know, in order to get 1 point, you need to have 4 people complete level 1s. You need 2 more level 2s, another 2 level 2s, etc., to earn those points. So being on top of that as a member and as a VPE is very important. This is what they want to do before the end of June 2020 in order to complete the rest of the goals for DCPs. Gandalf to finish level 3, Minnie levels 3 and 4, and King Arthur to complete 3, 4 and 5. Coming back to how do we do all this in Basecamp? Well, of course, you can use the Basecamp to track your own progress, and the Basecamp manager can use it to track the progress of all of their team. So when you log into Toastmasters International, you would first choose to go to Basecamp here, logged in at your particular club. So that would be your first port of call. We all know how to do that. When you get to your transcript, the first thing you'll want to do is have a look at the curriculum itself to see what's been completed. And in this particular one, I've just selected my own. So this is my tracking progress so far in team collaboration. And I can see at a glance all of those projects that have been completed and those that need to be activated. So that is a simple way to have a look at progress. Click happy again, let me go back. The next thing might be for the Basecamp manager to have a look at the progress of the team. And if you recall one of our earlier webinars this year, we had a presenter showing you exactly how you would operate as a base camp manager. I'm not going to step through those things for you today. I'm just going to make mention of one point which is valid for monitoring the progress of your team. When you have logged in this time as base camp manager, as you'll see here in the red square, I've logged in as the base camp manager for Indigo speakers, and I can bring up a view of the team for this club number 5674142 and have a look at their progress from that point. So the next slide should show us that. And this is one of the reasons why you might need to go there, just to double check that this particular member has completed the meeting roles required in order to have completed level 3. Some people are getting a little bit confused with that, and it is up to the member to record in Basecamp each time they do one of those major roles, such as general evaluator, grammarian, speech evaluator, Toastmaster and topics master. I don't think the R counter and timer are included as necessarily required for level 3, but the others are. I need to double check my information on that. I'll ask someone at the end. But this is where you check if the member has actually recorded those. So moving forward. You can also check the roles by member in EasySpeak. This is a great tool. You can go to a region of EasySpeak called the charts and look up roles by member. So here we are back in King Arthur's Playground and having a look at what Gandalf has done recently. And he's been a speaker, evaluator, speaker, speaker. So there's some gaps here that we need to fill, or he will need to fill, in order to complete level 3. So in the middle there, you'll see that I've extrapolated that out to show that Gandalf needs to complete the roles of Table Topics Master, Grammarian, General Evaluator, and Toastmaster. And therefore it becomes a nice, easy way to remind him to do those before he can complete level 3. Similarly, King Arthur and Minnie need to complete some of those roles. All right, I'm coming to the end of the time allocated, so I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. This is one thing that you might want to be able to do. It came up as a suggestion from District 57 that across their district, they're encouraging their clubs to assign a VP Pathways role. So I'm suggesting it here as a strategy you might like to take, that the VPE could assign a VP Pathways, someone who has completed at least levels 1 and 2, and where possible, make that person the secretary as well, or have it as the secretary. Their job could then be to keep track of the Pathways achievements in EasySpeak and to alert the VPE to those potential level completions. So it's just another way in which you can help to monitor things within your club. The second part of this is to suggest that you might set up a Pathways corner within your club meeting, say a club business segment, and your Pathways achievements can be given special attention here and any level completion awards handed out on the day. This helps to not only track and monitor, but also motivate others. So I've come to the end of my time, so I'm going to stop sharing and come back to the room and just see if there are any questions. I flew through those very quickly, Amit, so let me know if there are questions.
No worries, Carole. Thank you very much. There is a question from Wendy. What she's asking is, can we get EasySpeak to have pathway levels under goals? and we can use that to track the individual goals for the Toastmaster year.
Yes, that came up recently in some conversations in the Facebook group, that we do need that as a goal, because Easy Speak allows the member to set their own goals, and at the moment the pathways elements are not yet part of those goal setting. So we will definitely do that. We can put that forward to Malcolm Warden and his team.
Okay, great. Raman did have a question, but I guess that's been answered. But for the benefit of everyone, his question was, are the Basecamp manager and VP the same person? So Raman, just to answer the question, the Basecamp managers are essentially the VPE, the president, and the secretary, and any one of them can get into Pathways and do the role as a Basecamp manager.
Absolutely. And I thought, given that I need to really cover a couple of points, is it all right if I just extend for a couple of minutes and have a look at what you can do to monitor as a club? Anyone needing to dash away in a hurry?
Go for it. Liz had to drop off. I think the others are still here.
All right, okay. All right, so it'll just give me 3 minutes and I will cover this for you. I'll just go back to my slides and just proceed. All right, for the club, there are 3 things that you can do to track and monitor. One of those is for your DCP records, which you will find under your dashboards. And if you are not sure where to find that, you would go into Toastmasters International as an executive, go into Club Central and find your DCP records there. The second one you can use is the district adoption rates, which you can access if you are a district person, and you can get that through Leadership Central. And thirdly, there is a tool you can use, which is George Marshall's tools. And George is from District 57. So I'll just show you very quickly that this is how you would monitor the level awards in your Club Central dashboard. When you go to your own club through Club Central and click on that, you'll be taken immediately to the records that are showing. And at the moment, we're still only seeing the results for 17th of July 2019. They have not yet been updated for the new year. The second one is the adoption rates, and this is what Kelly was mentioning before. I think it's so important that we do strive to have all officers at least registered or enrolled in Pathways, and wherever we can, 100% of our members. And you can find those adoption rates in your Leadership Central. If you filter further down in that particular database, you'll be able to filter on the adoption rate itself and find out who are the top players. And at the moment, it's Central District. That should be Central Division, which has 7 of the top 19 clubs at 100% adoption rate, down through to 985. In George Marshall's tools, this is too small for you to actually see, but if you use that link, www.marshalls.org, TM Tools, you'll be able to filter on the award itself and find out just what is most popular. Because many of the names are omitted here, it's quite useful to use at any time. And the reason that the names are omitted is the person has gone on to TI and said no to have their name published in these particular databases. But this one is an excellent one to filter on awards, area, division, or even club. So thanks very much for allowing me that few extra minutes, because I think that was really important for me to cover for you.
No worries, Carole. Thank you for that. There was another question raised by Wendy. She's asking, how does the VP Pathways in D57 get notifications?
That's an excellent question. I've asked it myself, Wendy, and even George is not yet aware. They are still working through the parameters of how that is going to happen. So it will be very interesting to follow exactly what they are going to be doing as their VP pathways.
Yeah, I might have a solution over there actually for everyone. So as most of the VPs do not get the emails that are triggered on the contact us email that typically goes to the VPM, what I have done is I have set up a filter. We use Gmail for Mighty Docklands, and what I've done is I've set up a filter saying whenever there's a award submission subject line coming into this mailbox or a level approval keyword coming in, forward that email to my VPE.
Yeah, that's a good workaround. I like that.
Because I faced the same problem last year as VP, that I was not getting any of the notifications, and I had to go on the Toastmasters website to see the level approvals that are pending. So this seems to be working right now.
Excellent. Well, who knows, in the immediate future, we might see that some of these things get changed by the summit team. We're not really sure what other changes are going to be made into the future. So hopefully that one will be one.
Yeah, and Hanif was also asking a question. Adoption means choosing a path. So adoption means essentially getting onto Pathways itself as a member.
Yes. And yes, it would mean choosing a path so that you are actually enrolled or registered. That's what adoption really means.
Okay, any further questions? Looks like there's no further questions. So thank you very much, Carole. A big round of applause for Carole for giving us this session. Carole, I can actually hand this back to you to close the meeting.
Yes, you can. Thank you so much for that, Ahmed.
Thank you.
Really excellent to have you on board tonight, and also for Tracy to be our timer, and to have everyone joining us tonight to ask your questions and just to be here. I think it's important that we have a bit of a crowd. We've been renting a crowd now for some time. So keep up the good work and come back for our next one. All promotions of the online education events are happening on the District 73 website under Pathways, in the calendar, we hope, and also in the newsletter each month. You hopefully will have received this month's newsletter and will have seen the write-up that we had for motivating others in Pathways. So if not, go and have a look. And we hope to see you soon at another event. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Carole.
you, everyone. Have a great night ahead.
Bye all.